Now, I'm fresh from the World Economic Forum, and I spoke at the WEF last year, and I also spoke at the WEF this year as well. Last year, we talked massively about the role of NFTs in our space as a kind of asset or a new digital asset class, which I still believe it definitely is. And the reason why I get asked to come back and do the Metaverse Magic and Metaverse tracks all the time is because I literally know my shit when it comes to things like NFTs. This year I spoke about the role of NFTs in the Metaverse at the WEF. And so I'm really kind of delighted to bring those two things together now by bringing to the stage Shaban Shaame from EverdreamSoft to talk about NFTs and Metaverses, the challenges of opportunities of game item interoperability. Honestly, the pressure is on you right now. So please give him a very warm welcome. Welcome to the stage. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you for the introduction. So, hello everybody. As it has been mentioned, there is a challenge making Metaverse interoperable. How do you bring your clothes that you bought to the different Metaverses? There is no perfect solution today, but I will bring my take on how we can make it possible, and I believe it will be possible. So a few words about me. I'm CEO founder of EverdreamSoft, OGs of NFT, with the first one we issued in 2015. So a long time in the ecosystem. I'm co-founder of Blockchain Game Alliance and Treasure as well. So about NFTs, so we issued our first one in 2015, FD cards that have become legendary as the first game assets. And we built the whole game about trading card game, arcade, but also with the story of the game, we illustrated the events that happen on chain, on the blockchain ecosystem in an allegoric way. We did a lot of things, wallet and things like that, but what's interesting is we wanted to bring our IP, the characters, on the different metaverses. And here are two examples of what we did. So on the left part of the screen, you have Satoshi card, which is one the card that we made, a character, Satoshi Nakamoto. Then we had to model it in 3D for CryptoVoxel, which is one metaverse, and on the sandbox as well. As you can see, there is artistic work on the different metaverses. We cannot just take the image as it was and put it in the metaverse. If you look at the polygon, the number of the polygon, the character, it's different. So we had to change things on the character. So we cannot just port from one metaverse to the other. So one challenge is the file format. So let's say you create something, clothing, and you create a 3D object out of it. Can we find a common, unique file that will work in any metaverse? My answer is, you said yes, but my answer is no. There is a technical and creative constraints on each metaverse. You can, the number of pixels that you are using, the style is different. We could do a kind of universal file format, but there will be still a bit of constraint. So what is the solution, in my opinion, is to let the community make the adaptation. For example, in this example of Portal, which is a game that's published by Valve, you see the same situation, the same idea on Minecraft. So the community did a modification of the original idea, asset, to fit to another metaverse, if we can call it like this. Okay, so if you allow people to do that, how do you keep the brand consistency? So, because people will make their change, and maybe if you're the IP owner, you might not be very happy. There is other question around it. How do you revenue share? How do you control? How do you manage ownership of this item from one metaverse to the other? So one solution of this is to use a blockchain token, NFTs. With blockchain token, you can clarify ownership. You can clarify that this user actually purchased this from Gucci, for example, this token from Gucci. Just to go a little bit on what is a token, who is familiar with NFT here? Okay, most of you. Have you thought about this thing? So a token here, Etherscan, you may be familiar of how a token looked like. So it's an information, a very simple information on a chain. It's not the asset, by the way. It's just information line, formatted information. So a token is like a property title, basically, a paper saying that this address owns something. I like to make the parallel with a house. So the house, if you have a house, it's the asset. The paper is the paper. And the paper is not the house, but the paper manages the ownership of the house. One example, also, something possible, something that happened to us. For example, the same Satoshi card that I mentioned, which is one token that we created. Another game used the same token in his own game, Sarutobi, to create like another character. With the ownership of the same thing, he developed it into another universe, another game. So the experiences are completely different, but related to the ownership of the same Satoshi token in this example. Okay, but with NFTs, we still have challenge. Because, of course, token, you can follow ownership, you can follow issuer, but there's open question. How the authenticity is guaranteed? Because anybody can create a token and tell you, this is my work of art, which is not. How do we have real scarcity? So I can create a unique piece of work and then create millions of tokens. Even if I'm the creator, I can still do that. I said it's unique, it's verifiable on each chain. You can see there is only one token, but actually it exists in multiple blockchains. What are the copyrights that is associated with the token, and is the creator the real copyright owner of the token? So this challenge, I think, needs to be addressed in order to be able to have a real metaverse compatibility, interoperability. So the first phase is a possibility is to tokenize an intellectual property, like the portal gun in this example. Then define brand and commercial rules. What does the owner of the token has as ownership or right to use it? And then allow people to do derivative work based on the intellectual property. This way, you can bring the portal gun, for example, on Minecraft or on different metaverses. So how does it work in the physical world? So when you have a property like a house, and the title. In the middle, there is a notary. There is someone who says this paper is actually representing this house. On the digital world or the blockchain world, you have the token, which is property title. You have an asset that lies somewhere, IPFS or on a server, but you have no one to enforce and verify that there is actually a link. And this is, in my opinion, the key point to allow true interoperability. And from this consultation, we started working on something to solve that, because we want to allow our players to bring the character, the IP that we have into different metaverses in order to have true interoperability. So we thought we need a notary, but for a chain or for something like games, we need a decentralized notary, a notary for the metaverse. So that's what we're building right now, really to find this the solution to this challenge. So basically, it's an infrastructure protocol which is decentralized, aimed to preserve the brand integrity. So basically, instead of having a brand verifying every element of every metaverse, we have a community that are incentivized through a consensus algorithm to actually say the truth and enforce and pinpoint the fake or the wrong content. Just wanted to pick your brain on how we can do metaverse interoperability, and how we face the challenge, and how we envision this part. I invite you to rate my talk by scanning the QR code here. I will send you NFT after that, a token to remember the talk, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Shaban. Have we got any questions on the floor? He's covered quite a lot of ground there. I've got about 10 million questions. But yeah, there's a question at the back there. Sam's got the mic.
So you mentioned that we could scan the QR code and you would send us like an NFT, but if you send everybody the same one, how is it an NFT then? And do you have like a control of how many out there, how many are out there, and how do you know how many have been used?
You're a definite competitor for my BS throne. Be careful, I might get bullish. Please answer.
It's a good question. I would say they are certified, but no, because the solution that we're building is not here yet. But certification of presence in events that are fulfilled, that we're exploring. For now, it's a bit manual, so we just look at the answers and send the NFT, which are collectibles of the same item to everybody, if that's answer your question.
Any more questions? Yep, another guy.
Apple allowed NFTs. Can we expect more for the mobile sector?
Sorry, can you?
Apple allowed NFTs recently. Can we expect more?
That has been a long love and hate story with Apple, with ever-evolving rules. Right now, the way we handle, since 7 years now, NFT with Apple, as our game is mobile, the trading happen outside of the game. The game is free to play. People receive their item pay as in-app purchases, and then they can receive a blockchain element to their wallet. So on our part, we're a bit complying and ditching the challenges. It's very hard to predict, and that's why we're not trying to predict how Apple will react, because one day they ban a wallet, NFT wallet, the other they allow it. They're hard to predict, but there is a big challenge when it comes to monetization, because they want their monetization, everyone wants their monetization. So I think things will evolve as everybody gets their share of the cake. And this will happen, but I think will take a bit of time as the ecosystem matures.
Any more questions? Shaban? Okay, I've got one or two. My first question to you is about, you mentioned brands, etc. earlier, and the role of brands and interoperability between brands. But with high-profile lawsuits, such as the Birkin Hermes versus the Hermes not fake designer, and also the current Mid-Journey issues with people just like making AI NFTs without utility and having no ownership of what it is that they're creating. How do you see IP protection following interoperability?
So the IP protection, I think, is the biggest challenge coming with NFTs, with fake, of course, a lot of wrong content. So I think clarifying the IP is one of the very important things. So certifying, like saying, okay, this is really issued by a brand, and protecting. Also, we have some experiments with Bored Apes, for example, the license that allow you to do anything comes with the NFT. But it brings other problem. You can, for example, sub-license, have a Bored Ape, sub-license to cinema, movie, grant exclusive license to people, and then resell the Bored Ape to someone else, and he gets an empty shell because all the license has been already licensed. So we're lacking clarity. That's also a bit what we're trying to do, is to clarify this and to see the chain of custody of who issued what, who is allowed to do what, and then allow them to monetize and to pay the real right owner as genuine content is produced.
And then the other point that I wanted to make, is about the secondary marketplace, because in the world that I work in, which is luxury NFTs, etc., any secondary marketplace associated with luxury is always really liquid. It's always moving constantly, and it's very lucrative. Do you see the same thing following? I mean, you just sort of said that people were buying sort of Bored Apes on a secondary marketplace that were empty shells. How do we improve the secondary marketplace for NFTs, for example? Or are we saying that NFTs should literally be a one-time thing?
I think I will say for me, but I think marketplaces will have to list NFTs that are certified and that have clarity in their license. And then what I think will happen is we're going to have like real marketplaces and more shady marketplaces where I think will be a bit more liberal. But the real ones, the ones that are supported, they really need enforcement. They will, and they don't have the budget themselves to follow everything that is uploaded. So that's why we need something decentralized where the community make this work, the curation work, with stake in order to keep genuinity and truth.
Thank you very much indeed. Give him a round of applause. Thanks, Shaban. You're free.